Positive update on Jayden Quaintance and his imminent debut with Kentucky basketball. Let's see what's new with this guy. It would be a great boost to the team. With each new update that emerges about Jayden Quaintance, the feeling in Lexington is one of growing expectation and renewed confidence in the project that Mark Pope is building his first year leading Kentucky basketball. The latest news involving the young center reinforces exactly that. His return to the court is getting closer, and the impression left behind the scenes is extremely encouraging. At a time when the team is still seeking solidity in fundamental areas of the game, especially in the paint, Quaintance's imminent debut arrives as a true breath of hope for the Big Blue Nation. The transfer from Arizona State has not yet been able to officially wear the Wildcats jersey due to recovery from an anterior cruciate ligament injury, one of the most feared challenges for any athlete. However, throughout the past few months, Mark Pope has always adopted a balanced approach, avoiding unrealistic expectations while maintaining a consistently positive tone regarding the player's progress. Now, this care is beginning to pay off with concrete signs that the process has been conducted correctly. According to the coach himself, Jayden Quaintance performed impressively in his most recent strength test, representing an important milestone in the rehabilitation protocol. More than just numbers and physical assessments, what really stands out is the fact that he is already participating in 5-on-5 on-court activities, albeit with assistant coaches. This stage usually indicates that the athlete has regained much of his confidence in his movements, something essential for a center who depends so much on explosiveness, jumping ability, and constant physical contact. Pope emphasized that the return continues to be conducted cautiously. Quaintance is not yet fully participating in the full training rhythm of the main roster, precisely to avoid any kind of setback. The process is gradual, controlled, and planned for the long term. Still, the coach himself let slip how well the player has been feeling, reporting that the center participated in 5-on-5 sessions with assistants, and even some recreational center players. Pope highlighted that Quaintance had fun, felt comfortable, and responded positively to the test that most closely resembled the reality of a game. This set of information not only encourages with the debut approaching, but also reinforces the seriousness of the work being done internally. In times when anxiety often overrides processes, Kentucky shows that it is willing to do things differently, prioritizing the athlete's health without losing sight of the sporting impact he can have. And this impact, it's worth remembering, is potentially enormous. Jayden Quaintance carries the label of a possible lottery pick in the NBA draft, a status that doesn't arise by chance. On the court, the need he can help fill has recently become glaringly obvious. In their loss to North Carolina, the Wildcats suffered by allowing 20 offensive rebounds, a number that reveals clear weaknesses in paint control, physical presence, and defensive backboard protection. At 2.08 meters tall, with above-average mobility and the ability to play above the basket, Quaintance emerges as a piece capable of completely changing this dynamic. His mere presence impacts spacing, generates second chances on offense, and makes life difficult for any opponent trying to produce near the basket. The question that naturally dominates conversations is when exactly this debut will happen. There is no official date set yet, but the scenario points to a very real possibility that will occur even before the start of the SEC games. The game against Alabama, scheduled for January 3rd, appears as a kind of benchmark on the horizon. Having Quaintance available before this duel would represent a significant boost at a crucial moment in the season. More than just technical aspects, this upgrade also symbolizes something bigger within Kentucky's new cycle. Mark Pope's work, still in its early stages, is beginning to take on a more defined shape with careful roster management, transparency in his communication, and absolute focus on preparing the team to grow throughout the season. Quaintance's recovery, achieved without shortcuts, perfectly reflects this philosophy. While his debut is not officially confirmed, there is an atmosphere of controlled optimism supported by facts and not just expectations. Jayden Quaintance is getting closer and closer to wearing the blue jersey in an official game, and that's great. The arrival of Joe Sloan as Kentucky's offensive coordinator marks a new chapter in the carefully orchestrated rebuilding process led by Coach Will Stein, whose strategic vision seems to be materializing with thoughtful choices aligned with the project he wants to implement in Lexington. The hiring of Sloan, former offensive coordinator at LSU, brings not only a robust technical background, but also the necessary experience to navigate the challenges of a conference as competitive as the SEC. Under Stein's watchful eye, this move could represent more than just a simple appointment. It's a clear sign that Kentucky is willing to innovate and seek creative solutions to reposition its identity in college football. Sloan, at 38 years old, embodies a renewed energy that the Kentucky program seeks. His trajectory at Louisiana Tech, where he gradually climbed the ranks before assuming the role of head offensive coordinator, demonstrated a meticulous and adaptable profile, essential qualities for someone who intends to shape a constantly evolving offensive unit. At LSU, even under Brian Kelly's shadow, Sloan proved capable of managing high-level talent and maintaining cohesion amidst increasing external pressures. These characteristics are particularly relevant for a team like Kentucky, which seeks to balance high ambitions with building a solid foundation for the future. The decision to bring Sloan to Lexington also reflects a smart strategic shift on Will Stein's part. By opting for someone with deep roots in player recruitment and development, something evidenced during his time at Louisiana Tech, Stein reinforces his commitment to the idea that sustainable success begins with building consistent rosters. Instead of betting on big names or coaches with resumes full of titles, Stein prioritized someone whose DNA matches the long-term philosophy he wants to implement. This is even more evident when considering that there were previously rumors about the possible hiring of Justin Burke, offensive coordinator of UTSA. Although Burke was an interesting choice, the final decision to sign Sloan suggests that Stein was looking for a specific profile, someone with experience on the big stage, but also with the flexibility needed to adapt to the peculiarities of a program in transition. Furthermore, signing Sloan can be seen as an investment in the emotional and psychological stability of the locker room. One of the biggest challenges faced by emerging programs, like Kentucky, is preventing external expectations from negatively impacting the internal environment. With his experience dealing with moments of uncertainty, both at LSU and Louisiana Tech, Sloan has the opportunity to bridge the gap between the individual goals of the players and the collective goals of the team. This balance is crucial for a roster that will inevitably be under the spotlight as it tries to prove its worth in the SEC. Another point that draws attention is how this signing could directly influence the development of Kentucky's quarterbacks. Historically, the success of college teams is intrinsically linked to the performance of their offensive leaders, and Sloan, with his vast experience as a quarterbacks coach, has all the tools to maximize the potential of this position. Whether working with promising young players or adjusting veterans, his presence promises to bring consistency to an area that has often been pointed out as a weak point of the team in recent years. The choice of Joe Sloan also symbolizes something bigger, a declaration of intent on the part of Kentucky. By opting for a professional with a modern, adaptable profile focused on continuous development, Will Stein is sending a clear message to the world of college football. This is not a program that settles for mediocrity. On the contrary, it is willing to innovate, learn from the past, and build something lasting. While the spotlight is still on traditional SEC giants, Kentucky is quietly paving its way to becoming a respected force. We'll see this up close. The signing of Pete Nocta by the Kentucky Wildcats, as widely rumored by Nick Roush of KSR, is more than just a strategic move on the college football chessboard. It's a bold move by Will Stein in his quiet battle to reposition the program as an attractive destination within the brutal and unforgiving SEC. The exchange of protagonists between Kentucky and Louisville, with Vince Merrill migrating to the Cardinals last offseason, and now Nocta making a reverse journey, reflects not only a fierce regional rivalry, but also the increasing sophistication with which recruitment operations are being conducted behind the scenes of the sport. Pete Nocta, a name that may sound unfamiliar to many casual fans, is actually a central piece in the complex machinery that drives competitive programs like Louisville. His multifaceted experience, from his time as a college athlete to his strategic roles as director of recruitment, has made him an indispensable figure for any organization seeking to elevate its level of excellence. As a player, Nocta was an integral part of Louisville's golden era under Charlie Strong's leadership, a period coinciding with Will Stein's time with the Cardinals. This historical connection adds an interesting layer to the hiring, suggesting that Stein is not only seeking technical competence, but also someone whose vision and values align with the cultural pillars he wants to implement in Kentucky. It is Nocta's role as director of recruiting that deserves special attention. In an era where recruiting is treated as an exact science, with data analysis, geographic mapping, and customized strategies for each prospect, his expertise emerges as a significant differentiator. He not only coordinated the logistical efforts of recruiting in Louisville, but also acted as a crucial link between players, coaching staff, admissions department, and even the NFL. This type of interdisciplinary skill is rare, and his transfer to Kentucky could represent a qualitative leap in how the program identifies and attracts talent. Furthermore, the choice of Nocta to work under Pat Biondo, the future general manager of the Wildcats, demonstrates a clear intention to structure a modern and efficient operation. The management model adopted by Stein, inspired by the best practices of professional franchises, seems to be rapidly taking shape. By bringing in someone with Nocta's profile to specifically handle off-field recruitment, Stein is sending a clear message. Kentucky doesn't just want to compete. It seeks to dominate every aspect of the process that leads to building a winning roster. This includes not only identifying the best players, but also ensuring they fit academically, culturally, and emotionally into the program's environment. The irony of the situation: Louisville hiring Vince Marrow and Kentucky responded with the hiring of Nocta doesn't go unnoticed. It's almost as if Stein is playing chess, while others are still learning the basic rules of the game. The loss of Marrow was a hard blow for the Wildcats, but the quick and calculated response with Nocta suggests that Stein is always 2 steps ahead. More than just regaining ground, this hiring has potential to alter the power dynamics in the rivalry between Kentucky and Louisville, especially regarding local and regional recruitment. Another relevant point is how this move could impact the external perception of Kentucky. For years, the program was seen as an outsider in the SEC, unable to consistently compete with the conference heavyweights. However, the arrival of Stein and his revamped team is changing this narrative. Hiring someone like Nocta, who has an intimate understanding of the recruiting landscape in Kentucky and neighboring states, strengthens the Wildcats' position as a legitimate player in the market. This is particularly important at a time when recruitment is becoming increasingly globalized and competitive. The hiring of Pete Nocta can be seen as a major symbol of change. It represents not only a tactical victory against Louisville, but also a statement of principles. Kentucky is willing to innovate, adapt, and invest resources in areas that, while less visible to the general public, are fundamental to long-term success. While some programs remain focused exclusively on on-field performance, Stein has already begun implementing some things. Comment